Hi everyone, welcome back to my British Championship series, and now I'm going to show you another interesting game between Lewis Martin 2043 Qd8 and FM Alex Longson of 2279, who recently actually went above 2300 for the first time and thus earned his FM title, so congratulations to him. And he's hard working and also a very nice guy, so was thoroughly deserved, and I'm happy for him. And he also plays in my league as well. But anyway, let's go on to the game. Now I'm going to show this game because it features a line which Brandon covered in his Open Sicilian series, the 6G3 Najdorf. And now we're going to see it played in this game, and I thought you might be interested in it as a result. So E4, C5, Knight-F3, D6, D4, CD4, Knight D4, Knight F6, Knight C3, A6, G3. So the point of this move is to fee and kettle the bishop and then start like a pawn stomp on the king side. So E5 is played. And as you remember from the Brandon video, you always put the knight on E2. As you're going to like to play H3, G4 and Knight G3, and then like into F5 perhaps. Bg5, Bg2, B5, getting typical Najdorf play, castles, like Bd7. H3, and now this is a move which actually isn't covered in Brandon's video, because in Brandon's video seems to assume that black castles routinely, but instead H5 is chosen here, which I think is a very good move because it takes advantage of the fact that black hasn't castled and also stops white's G4 expansion, and the knight can't come to G3, which isn't very good. I'm not sure how you should react to this as white, to be honest. So white just develops his pieces. He plays Bg5, Bishop B7. I just think black's actually got quite a nice position here. He's got his Najdorf counterplay. He's got the A6 B5 expansion. There's no dangers to his king, like no threats or anything. But white is pretty solid. A3 is chosen to stop B4, boot to the knight. Rook C8, again typical Najdorf moves. Queen D2. Castles finally, because there's no like threat to the king, because now G4 can't be played. Rook AD1, trying to put pressure on the backward Najdorf pawn. Queen to B6 was chosen, which is interesting, because usually the queen goes to C7 in these lines. Just like it's a very typical Sicilian square, so Queen B6 must have some other ideas, perhaps. Some wicked and evil plan. Now Bishop F3 was chosen, which is a very strange move, but it does threaten. Well, actually it doesn't threaten anything. I thought it threatened Bishop takes F6, but of course the knight can just take back. A5 was chosen to gain queenside counterplay with B4. Now G4, I suppose G4, that's the point, but G4 is actually just a blunder. So therefore Bishop F3 is not a good move, so if we go back we need to suggest alternative moves for white. Knight C1 seems like an interesting idea. Aiming to bring the knight to maybe D3 and get F4 into something. Or knight to B3. Another interesting move is to play perhaps maybe after a queen swap with Queen E3, because black has got some positional weaknesses potentially with the hole on D5 and the D6 pawn, so maybe a queen swap's not too bad for white. So maybe black should retreat his queen back to C7 and avoid it. But now white can consider doubling to put on D5 and try and tie black's pieces down to D6. But Bishop F3, A5, G4 and now B4 is quite strong. After A takes B4, A takes B4, the knight is coming to D5. And the knight is taken. And this is actually very bad for white, because white does not want the D5 pawn to be, the D5 square to be, to have a pawn in the way, because white wants to put his pieces on there, and it also shields black's D6 pawn. If black can never in a Najdorf destroy white's D5 outpost and reduce the pressure on D6, then black is usually a lot better. And of course there is no bishop takes E7 stuff because the knight now protects it. So it has to be taken back. Then we just take the bishop, queen takes, and for some reason rook takes C2 isn't played. Not sure if he must have been worried about something. Well, this H5 pawn is on freeze. Queen takes H5 then. He's got knight into F6 for tempo, which is very good for black, so maybe he should take with a pawn, which opens his king up and allows double pawns, but maybe his ideas of h6 in some lines. Then just queen back to d8, offer a queen swap, and then take the b pawn next or something. White's practically lost. But he plays queen d8 first, so maybe he's reckoning white actually can't defend the pawn in a good way, which is probably correct, using his FM magic. Queen takes h5, rook takes c2, g5 was played, very aggressive, but now knight comes into c5 and black's just got a dream knight up position with a rook on the 7th, an active knight, and his king is very safe as well. If g6 is played in this position, then you can just take it, and there actually isn't any threats, so you just take this pawn. There's no like bishop h6 or anything. Say something like bishop h5. So there's just nothing, just push these pawns to victory. You see, if the b pawn goes, white can practically resign. King h2 was chosen to try and get the g file, and the b pawn wasn't actually taken, but e4 was played, which is also a strong move, attacking the bishop, which has to move. g6 is chosen just to stop any potential threats. Queen comes into h6, which is very committal. Queen e7, another top move by Alex. h4, desperately trying to do something, but no. Queen e5 check. King g2, and knight d3 was chosen, putting the knight into the octopus square. And bishop a6 is perhaps even stronger, just getting the bishop into the game and putting pressure on the, well, threatening the e2 knight, and then knight d3 next. But knight d3 first was chosen, h5 was played, he got took, rook h1, and now knight f4 check is practically killing, because if knight takes f4, queen takes f4, forks the bishop and the f2 pawn, and if the knight isn't taken, it's just on a very good square with tempo, so the king has to move. Then we've got another killing move, bishop a6, and save rook e1, we just play e3 and white's getting completely mashed. So queen g7 was played instead, just trying to get the queens off so he can use his pawn up advantage, and he's probably going to win the b pawn as well. So now white blundered very badly with queen takes h5, and spot the winning combination to get a cookie perhaps. It's quite simple actually. I'm probably insulting your intelligence here, but these videos are meant to be for people with all abilities. Just rook takes c2, removing the defender of the f4 square, because now the king and queen are in an unfortunate placement, which will allow a deadly fork, and for some reason white plays on. When he gets an FM, this is time to throw in the towel in if you're a GM. But of course he has got a few maybe potential threats, but black's fin kettle queen is stopping everything. And now the rooks come off. g6 is tried, knight f3 check, bishop f3, ef3. There's just nothing for white. h3, fg6, and then bishop c8 is another blunder there, just blundering in exchange to a skewer, but it was lost anyway. So white throws in the towel. But that was a very instructive game, that, and a very good way of how to play against this the Brandon system. Just this h5 to restrain g4 and delay castling, and white didn't get a very good position at the opening. So it was a very instructive game, that, a nice attacking display at the end as well, and good defensive as well when white tried to break through. I hope you enjoyed this game anyway, and please leave in the comments some thoughts. Thanks very much.